guys, welcome to my Draw My Life video. I'll be telling you all about my childhood, how I got into video games, and answer tons of frequently asked questions along the way. It'll be animated by the one and only Lilypichu. Big thank you to her. I'll leave her YouTube channel in the description and I recommend you guys check her out. Alright, so let's get it started. I was born on May 14th in Morocco. From what my mom tells me, I was a super sleepy and lovable little baby. I didn't yell much at all and I mostly just slept and ate a lot. So I guess in 20 years not much has changed, except now I yell a bit more in solo queue. I lived in Morocco until I was about 4 and I was a pretty bad little kid. I wasn't afraid of fighting any of the boys in the neighborhood. This one time my brother, who's 3 years older than me, came home crying because someone was bullying him. So I ran outside, I found the bully, and I just smacked him in the face. I also hated going to school. My nanny would drop me off at daycare or whatever, and I would do like a full circle around the place until she left, and then I would just try to walk home. Anyways, my family moved to Canada when I was 4, and we lived in Quebec for about a year before moving to Ontario. I started going to a full French school where all of our classes were in French, and French was spoken a lot in Morocco as well, so ultimately it was the first language I learned fluently, along with some Darija, which is the Moroccan dialect. And then around grades 3/4, they started teaching us English in school, which I learned pretty quickly because all the other kids would speak English too. This was also around the same time where I started playing games online because I'd always see my brother on the computer, so I just started copying him and playing the same games he played. Even though sometimes he'd get mad at me for always copying him, we still had a lot of awesome memories, questing together, and anytime I got stuck in a video game, I was really lucky because he would always be there to help me out. I mostly played MMOs around this time, and as for console games, of course I played all the classics like Mario, Zelda, Pokimane, and I mostly played them on my Nintendo DS or our GameCube. Throughout this part of my childhood, I loved going to school, and my parents were really encouraging and helpful when it came to academics. Seeing as they were both teachers at some point or another, it was kind of like I had 2 tutors at home whenever I needed it. So I got into this cycle of studying really hard, doing well on tests, and then feeling a lot of satisfaction and joy when I would get a good grade back and I'd be able to show it to my parents and they'd be proud of me. And I know it may sound cheesy, but my parents do mean a lot to me, so it was really important for me, and still is to this day, that they feel proud of me and my accomplishments. It's kind of funny because this cycle has been so ingrained in my mind that sometimes it's hard to feel proud of myself as a content creator or in any other aspect of my life because I don't get a weekly grade that I can go show my parents. So it's almost like there's no way to measure when I'm really doing good enough, but it's something that I'm learning to manage. So anyways, I stayed at the French school until I was in 7th grade. Then I switched to an immersion middle school and high school, which meant that as the years went on, I had less and less classes in French and more classes in English. My high school years weren't bad at all. I loved being able to see my friends every day, and I kept up my cycle of gratification via good grades. I was really involved the first couple of years of high school. In grade 9, I ran for grade representative, which is a position on the student council. Anyone can run, so I signed up. We got to campaign for a couple weeks, put up posters around the school. Like, one of my posters was basically what YouTube clickbait is nowadays. I wrote a bunch of captivating words in big bold letters like money, food, Pokemon, and then at the bottom of the poster I just wrote vote for Iman. And the night before the election, I went to my friend's house and we baked 200 cookies to give out to every single student in my grade. And the next morning I did exactly that. Then I gave a kick-ass speech and I ended up winning. It was really one of the best high school memories that I have and a really good way to start off my year. I ended up being on student council in grade 10 as well, and I was on the dance team for both of those years too. However, as the school years went on, it seemed like people in my grade got more and more into partying and doing drugs, and that wasn't really my cup of tea. So I ended up keeping to myself a lot more during my sophomore and senior year. I still had friends in school, but I wasn't super close with them outside of school anymore because our hobbies just didn't really line up, and I started playing League a ton. So I became pretty close friends with a group of guys who went to a different high school than me, and we would basically just play online on the weekends or after school. My parents were also a lot stricter than most other parents, so I ended up being stuck at home a lot since they weren't comfortable with me going out late, and that just resulted in me playing even more League. But being at home so much and playing video games a lot meant I made a lot of online friends, obviously, and they introduced me to Twitch. I fell in love instantly when I started watching streamers in my senior year, and so I saved up money to buy my own custom-built PC from Kijiji, which is like Craigslist, and I started streaming. My stream started off small and grew slowly, but I loved doing it since day one. However, I never thought of it as more than just a hobby, so my education remained my priority in life. I graduated high school with a 93% average, which is a 4.0 GPA in the States, and I went to McMaster University to study engineering. Juggling streaming semi-consistently and a course load that was mostly maths and sciences was not easy at all, because in my program they make you take more classes than a normal student would. People usually take 4 or 5 courses, and they make you take 6 just so that they can filter people out, which really sucked because every girl I became friends with in my first year of engineering all ended up switching programs, and I found myself pretty depressed and unsure whether I was doing the right thing because I didn't want to let my parents down, and I also didn't want to let my stream die, but there just weren't enough hours in the day to do everything that I wanted to do. Luckily, halfway through my second year, I started making enough on Twitch to convince my parents that it was worth taking time off of school to stream full-time, and here I am today. I'm not sure whether streaming full-time will lead me to a long-term career in the entertainment or esports sector. I'd be very happy if it did, but if it doesn't, then I'd also gladly go back to school to finish my studies. But regardless of what happens, I'm so grateful to be in this position and to be able to have these experiences, and it is all thanks to you guys. Thank you so much for your support. I would not be where I am today if it weren't for you, and not a day goes by where I don't keep that in mind. And of course, a huge thank you to my parents. I'm so grateful for how they raised me and the fact that they support me in anything that I do. I'm truly just so lucky and blessed to have everything that I do in life. So thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye!